if you want to jump timelines, you have to believe that the other timeline actually exists, and it does. People speak about this a lot. We don't exist on just one plane, on just one path. There's many different versions of ourselves that living different lives. You have to believe that those better lives are there. They're already there. You're just gonna now shift direction and then keep going in that direction. That's gonna get you to a different timeline, different path. That's what law of attraction is. That's what alignment is. Believe that what you want is there. Truly believe it into your soul, into your core. It's a good thing I did that mic check because my mic wasn't even turned on just now. I would have been sick. I'd have been plenty vexed. Let's do this. It's the grind. I love the grind though. I love the grind because I always eventually get the reward. I always see the results of my grind. Like the tougher it is, the greater the reward. And I feel like people gotta realize that, even if it takes a while. I mean, delayed gratification is one of the greatest things ever. When things take a while, usually means that the results of it are gonna be immense. It's gonna equal to how long it takes and how hard it was for it to do. So let's get to it, man. I'm working on eliminating my filler words while getting my point across. Speaking clear, speaking for a long time without pauses and filler words. Pauses are cool because some pauses are necessary. You know, like I say a lot. I gotta get rid of that. Also, whenever I'm not using filler words, I tend to now talk with my hands because it helps to like regulate what's going on in my brain. But like I don't want to talk with my hands too much either. So we're gonna get to it. I feel like it's a nervous thing because once the camera comes on, it's like it's real now. In your everyday dialogue, you don't you're not as nervous because you're just talking, not being recorded. What you're saying won't be played back. Once that camera comes on, man, it's like damn, people are gonna hear this. Now it's too serious. No, now it's mad serious. Like it don't gotta be that serious, bro. You know what I'm saying? Take it easy. You know what I'm saying? It's one of them too. I'm working on it. The first step is acknowledgement so you can work on whatever you need to work on. All right, let's get to it. Sit down, Bentley. Sit. My dog. Dog Bentley. Here chilling with me. Anyway, let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. Let's dive right into it. So, as you can see about the topic of the video, the caption, how I went from making $20,000 a year roughly to about $100,000 in a single year. And this is after me working at a job that I was making about 24,000 like take home. That's net. I was netting about 24 after taxes for like I did that job for about 8 years. That job alone, when I'm working only that job, I was taking home about that much. And I had second jobs here and there throughout that time. But for the most part, making mediocre bread, man. And now, well, I just left my very high paying job, but I did that job for a year. But now, at that job, I was grossing about 104,000. So take home less than 100,000, but it's around between 70 and 80 grand take home, depending on taxes. And that's a huge difference. That's a very huge difference. So I went from making 20K for like 8 years, and within me just locking in for about a year and just leveling myself up, I literally jumped. I feel like I jumped timelines crazy to the point where like a lot of people, a lot of my peers are just not on this level. Like I can't even relate to them as much as I could have. The recent conversations I've had with them, because I didn't even know. Something when you lock in, man. That's why they say like you can't take everybody with you, and you can't. You gotta really like isolate yourself to really elevate. Cause I didn't realize that people were like struggling. I was so locked in and focusing on what I was doing that I was assuming everybody else was doing the same thing, but people are not. Man, people are not. And it's really a quantum physics thing when you think about it. It's really a very spiritual. And I feel like quantum physics and spirituality and alignment, it sounds all fairy tale at the surface of it, but at the core of it is really scientific. You can really break this thing down to a science. It's not just law of attraction and sounds like magic. It is magic, but it's really science behind it that really makes it work. So locking in, aligning yourself, all these things are very possible. It is very real because it's science. It's just like anything else that's scientific and all that. I just feel like the difference is the people who are in charge, and we know who these people are now, but we're not gonna get into that just yet. I want to grow the channel for more before I really start getting into that. But they try not to let us know how serious these things are, like so we can kind of doubt it. But as much as the world gets tough and a lot of people are struggling, they make us think that we have no choice in being a part of that group. We don't have to be a part of the group that suffers. We don't have to be a part of the people that are struggling. Everybody is living in their own world. The thing is that a lot of people get caught in a certain group on a certain frequency because it's easy to get caught in that. It takes more effort to consciously like walk the other way. And you're gonna feel weird. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough on in many different ways. People are gonna look at you, they're gonna judge you, they're gonna say, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And then you're gonna see other people doing things, you're gonna be like, damn, that looks fun. I wish I could be doing that. Well, you'll know. You'll know when you've had enough of that. A lot of people just simply aren't sick and tired of being sick and tired. And when you get on a certain path, is because you're sick and tired. And they're complaining and they're saying this and they're saying that. And they're ready for somebody to come and save them, ready for the government to come and save them. But you're past that point. They're not. This is why they keep making excuses. So anyway, I went on a tangent there just now. But I'm just, I wasn't even gonna speak on that, but it relates to everything that I'm gonna talk about and just what my channel is about. So main thing is how it went from just depending on credit cards, not having enough money. I have more month than I have money at a point, and how I just shift that whole paradigm. And I did it in a very practical way. Like it's not like I started this business and it just took off or something, or I just did one of these, I became a successful trader, or one of these things that people hear and they see and it's like, yo, what, like this is very, very, very difficult. It's not typical. It is very, you got lucky, right? Some would say, no, I did it all for regular stuff. It's working a job. But I mean, eventually I want to get to all that stuff too, but I'm going to take it, I'm going to call it the slow, fast way. The slow way people believe is just a regular 9 to 5 is a job, but you can expedite the 9 to 5 process. Not everybody has a job that's making mediocre money. There's some jobs out there that people are working that make them feel like they got a successful business. Make them feel like they're just cashing in every day. It makes you feel like you're scamming because you're just making so much money. It's like, wow, but this is all based off skill acquisition, increasing your skills and what you bring to the marketplace. Because in this beautiful country of America, this is a capitalistic society. This is a business-based society, and the more skills and the more value you bring to a business, the more they'll pay you. I feel like you're not limited on how much a job will pay you. The only thing you're limited on is if you're getting paid by hour, the amount of time that you have in the day. But you can still make a lot of money per hour, more than a lot of people. So Anyway, the first thing I did was I was very optimistic. Very optimistic. I really believed that things could get better. I believed it to my core. And a lot of people is what happens is they'll want better and they'll think about doing better, but at their core, they don't believe that if they put in a certain amount of effort, more effort than they're putting in right now, they don't believe that things are actually going to change. My dog is scratching himself. That's that sound. They don't believe that things are going to change. But you have to be very optimistic, and that's a part of the quantum physics thing I'm telling you about. Like, if you want to jump timelines, you have to believe that the other timeline actually exists, and it does. People speak about this a lot. We don't exist on just one plane, on just one path. There's many different versions of ourselves that living different lives. You have to believe that those better lives are there. They're already there. You're just gonna now shift direction and then keep going in that direction. That's gonna get you to a different timeline, different path. That's what law of attraction is. That's what alignment is. Believe that what you want is there. Truly believe it into your soul, into your core. And true belief goes beyond belief now. At a point, you're gonna know. When you know something and you're not actually there yet, powerful, very powerful. And I believe that when you see it done already, and you can actually like not just see it on the internet, because a lot of times we see things on the internet, people say whatever, and we may not believe it because we don't know these people in real life. So I feel like it's good to start somewhere. Start with what you can actually prove, what you can actually see. For me, I actually saw people in the direction that I wanted to go in that field. I saw people in real life and people on the internet, and I really believed it. So be optimistic. The second thing is when you decide to level up and you choose a path and you're choosing a path, research the industry you want to get into. Research how difficult it is to get into this industry. Research the success rate. How many people have tried to break into this industry and have tried to do this thing? How many of them are actually successful? How many of them actually accomplished getting into this? Look how much it pays. Look how much it really pays and see the difficulty to reward factor. How hard is it to do? And me doing all these difficult things, how much am I gonna get paid? I didn't even know that like certain industries you can actually like fail at getting into. Like you can really fit like you could choose to now level up, go to a certain path, and you may not even get there. When I was a security guard at the airport about a year ago, a little over a year ago, I met this girl, and she was new, and I thought she was new because I was there for a couple of months, and I just started seeing her, and we were speaking, and she was telling me she used to work here before, but she just came back because she was in school to be a nurse, and I guess there's like a final test you gotta take to become a certified nurse. I believe it's an RN, and if you fail this test, even though you paid all your tuition and stuff, like you fail this test, you basically gotta start over, and I believe you gotta pay again. Don't don't quote me on that, but it's something along those lines. Maybe if you're in that field, you know better than I can, but better than I do. But she was like, yeah, she she failed the test and basically had to kind of start over. I don't know from what point if she has to do everything from scratch, but she didn't get to complete her qualifications to be a nurse, and therefore she was back being a security guard for a little bit. But after a while, I didn't see her anymore. I don't know what happened with that. She kind of left. Maybe her schedule changed. I don't know what happened, but that was crazy to me. And it was similar. It was a similar thing to me getting my CDL because if you fail too many times at the certain parts of the road test, I believe it's over. But from my experience with the whole CDL thing, it's a very high. That's why I said I researched it. I researched the success rate, especially the school I was going to, of how many people actually get through that process and get their CDL, because I know not everything is for everybody. Like there's probably some people out there who they're just their anxiety level and their just nerves are just not built for that. And no matter what they do, they could just never get it done. And that might be for the best because you don't want to be behind the wheel of a freaking tractor trailer and you're just a nervous wreck naturally. Like no, but the success rate of getting a CDL, especially at the school that I went to, is very high, very very high. So you want to make sure you research that. How easy is it to get into the field that you want to get into, along with how much they pay. Third thing is you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And you've probably heard this over and over again for different things, but it is so true. Me right now, sitting in front of this camera, as much as I like to talk, to a certain extent, it's uncomfortable. Now, I've been getting in front of the camera on social media on different platforms for a couple of years now, but in the beginning, it was pretty difficult. And to a certain extent, it's still kind of difficult, but I'm getting more and more used to it. But you get uncomfortable, recording yourself, then putting yourself out there for the world to see and judge. And let me tell you, if you're a person in the right state of mind, you may not ever like think to come on the internet and go crazy and bash somebody for no reason. But there's people out there who this is what they do. They're just ready to just see the world burned from behind a screen, behind a computer. Another thing is I had to get comfortable with driving a massive truck. And prior to that, I mean, I thought of myself as a very good driver of a regular car. Like I thought of myself as a decent driver. I was pretty confident in my driving skills when it came to just driving a regular car. But I never, ever thought of myself of being a truck driver. I never saw myself driving these massive trucks. I still don't as much even right now because honestly, I've only driven tractor trailers in school. The trucks I'm driving right now are Class B trucks, like box trucks and smaller or slightly bigger. But just driving a truck in general, I never saw myself doing that. I was never comfortable with that. But I got so sick and tired of where I was that I was willing to do whatever it took. I didn't care anymore. I'm like, yo, whatever it is. Like, and now the options I'm seeing for myself, having conquered like that, I opened up a lot more options for myself as far as what I wasn't comfortable with and what I'm comfortable with now. And it just opened up a lot of income possibilities for me. A lot. So you gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable. Discomfort is one of the weirdest things ever because the longer you're uncomfortable for, and the more uncomfortable you are, if you're going in the right direction, the results are always so amazing once they start to come. It's so weird that God set things up like this. Like the harder things are, and the more you hate it, the better it is for you. Man, when I was in school, I was such a nervous wreck behind the wheel of these vehicles that I thought something was wrong with me. I was so uncomfortable. And I saw people come into that school and they were in and out of there 1 month, 2 months, 3 months tops, some people. And I was there for 6 months. That's the thing with CDL school. You kind of you get to progress based off your how you progress, based off your skill level, how fast you pick things up. It's not like a set time you gotta be there for. Yeah, you gotta do a certain amount of hours, but like you can you can go fast through the steps compared to other people based off how well you do. Granted, a lot of people came in from like companies like UPS and Amazon and FedEx and things, so they already were like had experience just driving for a job. I didn't, but I could see why I was so much more uncomfortable than a lot of people. But I mean, I still got it done. And I know for a fact that the job I got right out of school compared to a lot of those people, they wasn't making the money I was making. I was more uncomfortable during the process, and I feel like in turn, God just made what I did right outside of that. Once I accomplished it, my income was way more than them because they a lot of them went straight to working for like FedEx and UPS and Amazon with their CDL, which is cool, but they weren't making the money I was making. I knew they weren't because I looked up, like I said, I look up the salaries of everything. I research everything I do before I even step foot in it. I got okay with failing. I got uncomfortable. I mean, I got comfortable with failing, and I failed a lot. At this point, if I do something and I feel like I got it done too easily, I start to question like, wait, that was way too easy. Am I gonna get the reward that I think I'm gonna get from this? Because I was kind of I got through that way too fast. Like when things are not as difficult as I feel like they should be, that's like a red flag for me. Like, whoa, this is way too easy. Like, is this? Is this some bullshit? Like, is this not about to pan out as how I expected? We'll see. Maybe not always. Maybe sometimes you get better, so you start to accomplish things faster because you're getting stronger. You're getting more competent. That's also possible. So we'll see. But who knows? It's kind of like when you try to talk to a girl or you feel like this girl looks a certain way, so you're gonna assume that it may take more effort to get her, and then you get her so easily. It's like, whoa, what the hell? Like, you good? I'm saying, like, everything good with you? What's wrong with you? But hey, maybe sometimes you just play it. Maybe you didn't realize that you just got your G up. You Riz master now. You've been putting in that work. Who knows? Anyway, one of the final notes is when you start to make money now. This is where a lot of people mess up right here. When you start to make money and you start making more money than you ever made in your life, do your best to keep money. Keep the money. A lot of people jump into a lifestyle that now matches their income right away, which is the dumbest thing ever because then you didn't go anywhere. You didn't go anywhere. You increased your expenses to match your income. So you're not going to see the difference. You're going to stay stressed. When you start to make more money, save as much as you can. Save and invest. Not just save, but invest. Build your emergency fund. Save as much as you can. Pay down debt. This could be a case by case basis how you do this, what you attack first. A lot of experts recommend you pay down. Don't even build your emergency fund too high right away. Start paying down debt. I feel like that all depends on your situation. Like for me, I live in New York, so it was very imperative for me to build up my emergency fund and that nest egg almost right away and start to invest pretty much right away because the purpose of one of the main purposes of a security fund, a safety fund, whatever you call it, that nest egg is to while you're building, while you're paying down debt, just in case life happens, which it does, you have enough money to take care of whatever life throws at you. And that is going to look like a different thing for each person. And especially for those in New York, an emergency in friggin' Tennessee and Missouri is going to be different from emergency in New York, California, Florida. You may need more. So I needed a decent amount of savings before I started really attacking my debt compared to people who may have may have a different situation. Invest, pay down debt. Uh, keep in mind you're not adding to your debt as you're paying down debt. I have such a strong, passionate hate for credit cards, loans, financing things. And I wish I had this mindset when I first started working at like, well, officially working, on the books at 18 and into my early 20s. I wish I just knew certain things because the reason why a lot of people are struggling right now is just, yeah, you need to make more money, but it's a lot of mismanagement of money and mismanagement of credit and debt and trying to keep up with your friends and just, oh man, looking back at it now, I see a lot of ways where I could have just, okay, I just turned 30. If I had this mindset at 20, this exact mindset, I could have, I can't even imagine where I'll be. I can't imagine where I'll be. A lot of things are just not what you do, but what you don't do. Do the right things and then don't do the wrong things. And the wrong things are going to feel right. The wrong things usually feel right when you first do it. Get a credit card, buy something you can't afford, finance that car. In the beginning, when you first do it, it feels like, yes, this feels so good. It feels so right. And as time goes, you realize this is one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made. And a lot of people ignore it as much as they can until eventually you can't ignore it no more. Then you realize, like, yeah, I really shouldn't have done this. And it'll be years later when you realize, like, yo, wow, I'm still paying for this thing that I did like 5 years ago. Because interest, a lot of us, we don't even know how to calculate interest properly. We don't even know, like, they'll tell you these numbers and you don't even realize, like, yo, this is crazy when you think about it. When you actually do the math, it's ridiculous. This is why, like, certain knowledge was never passed down to us. And this is why a certain group of people seem to always be getting ahead, but it's because they're not just passing down they're not just passing down money, they're passing down knowledge, what to actually do. That's one thing. Gotta pass down what to and it's gonna feel wrong. Telling your kids, showing them how to manage money properly, it's gonna feel, if you introduce it to them early enough and they be normal, but it's gonna feel like, yo, this feels more difficult. This feels wrong. But no matter how difficult it is, I promise you, in the long run, they're gonna thank you. Like, yo, thank you for not letting me just be financially stupid. I wish I had it. But when at whatever point you realize what the right thing is to do, start doing it ASAP so you can change your timeline and jump to where you need to go. Can't stress it enough. Feels amazing. Make sure all your insurances are covered. Insurance is a big thing. That's just okay. I used to sell insurance. I still am licensed to sell insurance, life insurance, and most insurances work similarly. But insurance, by definition, is a transfer of risk, right? Transfer of risk. So, health insurance, car insurance, life insurance, even a big thing, a big insurance that people overlook, and I overlooked it for a while. If you decided to get an iPhone and you have an iPhone, I can't speak for any other carriers, but I have Apple, I have an iPhone. Simple insurance like Apple Care can make a big difference in your life financially because these products, they'll break. Something will happen. Even if you take care of your device as much as you can, sometimes it'll just stop working by itself. And you bring that phone to the store, and if you don't got Apple Care, they're gonna tell you something crazy. They're gonna tell you something crazy. If you have Apple Care, you still gotta come out of pocket for certain things, but it's the difference is ridiculous. I got an iPhone 14, and whatever happened to my phone the other day, it just wasn't working. It was just dying. It'd be fully charged, and it would die every 5 minutes in my hand as I'm using it and restart. I bring it to the. I had Apple Care. I got Apple Care a couple of months before this because something else had happened. I had to, with the same phone, I had to change the screen and I didn't have Apple Care at the time. And to change the screen was like $300. I think I paid. And if I had Apple Care, it would have been free. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I paid to fix the screen, and I started Apple Care from that day on. And now, a couple months after, now something else happened with the phone, and they replaced my phone for $100. If I didn't have Apple Care and I wanted to get my phone replaced, I would have to pay about $800. That's the difference. $800. That's a $700 difference right there. If I didn't have Apple Care, we need to insure a lot. I just transferred the risk of my phone, majority of the risk, not all of it, because you still have the copay, right, or the deductible for certain things. But you transferred most of the risk to somebody else, and that's really how insurance works. A lot of insurance is a scam, sure, whatever. You can argue about that. I know right now is a big thing with health insurance. I can't even speak about that. I don't really know. No, I'm still figuring that out. Right now, I do my best to just maintenance of health, stay healthy as you can. Be very conscious about your health, so you can avoid as many doctor visits as possible. You will need to get a checkup here and there, get tested and all that good stuff. But for the most part, do your best to stay healthy because healthcare is wilding right now. I'm not gonna lie. For the most part, I've had insurances, health insurance through my employers. So, and I really don't really see a big thing from that. I don't know if things are gonna change, but like, I don't think my paycheck gets affected too crazy from that, and I'll still have pretty decent insurance. So we'll see what goes on with that. Everything else, life insurance. Okay, the point I feel like the point of a lot of life right now, if you're on this path of financial, you're watching this channel because you care about your finances, you care about your family. If you watching this channel and you don't have life insurance, I don't know what to tell you. If somebody outside of yourself depends on your income and you're not rich yet, you need life insurance. You got to have it. Your family, whoever these people are, person or people that depend on your income, they need you to have life insurance. Because if you untimely pass away, they're going to be mourning your death and they're going to mourn your income. It's best to at least eliminate one of those things and not just give them enough coverage to cover your income for a while. Like, give them more than what they need so that they can be ahead, not just break even, but be way ahead. Turn your tragic death into triumph for them. As is one of the most responsible things you can do, especially if you have a child and you say you care about your child. Don't just depend on the life insurance from your job, from your employer if you have it. I feel like it's cool to depend on, like I said, it's still up in the air, but it's cool to depend on the income, the healthcare from your job if it does the job. But like the life insurance from a job does not cover it. It never does for the most part, unless you have this unicorn of a job with a special coverage. But for the most part, you need to get outside life insurance. That's just a little side note. We're covering all ends here because you want to make sure we're building a financial fortress, and you don't benefit from your life insurance for the most part. There's We're not going to get into that. That's a whole thing, but you're not supposed to really benefit from your life insurance. It's for your beneficiaries and whoever they choose. It's not for you. And I feel like God blesses you because that's one of the most selfless things you could do. And God will bless you for that. Just think about it. So that's really it. That's how I jumped from 20K to 100K. And we're still going. I'm going to take you guys through this journey with me. We're still figuring it out. So like I said in the beginning of the video, just left my 100K a year job. Very planned out though. It's for a reason. pivoting this job right here, for as for right now, for what I've seen, I've only been there for like 3 weeks now. So I took a pay cut. It's in the same field. I took a pay cut, but I can add this job to my resume and to my experience to use for in the near future to get a way higher paying job than what I had from before. We just being strategic about things, you know? And this job currently right now also gives me a chance to reset my body because it's not as physically demanding. So I'm healing up. You know, I was at war. I made a lot of money, but I fought for every dollar at this last job. So we're kind of resetting with that, building our experience. I'm gonna get a lot of more certifications. I have more time now to get more certifications to add to my CDL, more endorsements, and we're gonna go crazy. I'll take you on this journey with me, and we're gonna build together. So let's get to it. You know what I'm saying? I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about this channel. Excited about being consistent with dropping videos, leveling up, and helping as many people as I can, and be entertaining at the same time. You know, let's just do it. Let's give people like myself and whoever else wants to join. Let's just get to it, man. Use me as an example. I've seen a lot of people who I've used as examples, and I want to add to that, showing that whatever you want is possible. So let's get to it. See y'all in the next video. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know your thoughts. Let's build together. Let's go.